Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to tackle something huge, the architectural blueprint for the world's biggest democracy, the Constitution of India. And let me tell you, it's so much more than just a dry book of laws. It's the very soul of the nation, really, laying out how the country is run and what promises it makes to its people. Okay, let's just jump right in with an idea that gets to the very heart of all this. Ponder this for a second. What if a nation's most important law wasn't really for the citizens, but was actually meant to control the government itself? That one single question, that shift in thinking, well, it just cracks open the entire concept we're about to explore. So, to really get a handle on any constitution, we first need to get our heads around two key ideas. They sound almost the same, but trust me, they are worlds apart. You've got the Constitution, and then you've got constitutionalism. All right, so first up, there's the Constitution itself. The best way to think of it is as the master blueprint, you know? It's the supreme law of the land that lays out the entire framework, who's in charge, what they can and can't do, and what the fundamental rights of the people are. It's really the foundational document for the whole country. But here's the thing. Just having a rulebook isn't enough, right? That's where this next idea, constitutionalism, comes in. This is the big principle, the core belief that the government is not above the law. It's the idea that the government has to play by the very same rules it operates under, making sure it can't just run wild with absolute power. So here's the key takeaway. A constitution gives you the rules, but constitutionalism is what ensures those rules are actually followed. It makes it the polar opposite of unchecked arbitrary power. You've got the document, and then you've got the culture of being bound by that document. That's the difference. Okay, with that foundation, let's pivot and see how this all comes together in India, which has, and this is no exaggeration, one of the most unique constitutional blueprints in the entire world. Its creators really took inspiration from all over, but they crafted something specifically for India's incredible diversity. And this right here, this just shows you how unique it is from the get-go. When it was first written, it had 395 articles. That made it the longest written constitution on the planet. And this wasn't just to be thorough. It was designed to give a super clear, detailed roadmap for a huge and unbelievably diverse country, leaving as little as possible up for debate. So the people writing this thing had a massive question to answer, a real dilemma. Should this master blueprint be rigid, set in stone to protect its core values? Or should it be flexible, something that could be easily changed as the country evolved? There are good arguments for both sides. And the solution they came up with is honestly pretty genius. The Indian Constitution basically said, why not both? It's this amazing blend of rigidity and flexibility. Some parts of it can be changed pretty easily, almost like any other law. But the really fundamental stuff, that requires a much, much tougher process, which gives you both stability and the ability to adapt. And this whole balancing act, it doesn't stop there. It's also in how they divided up power. On one hand, you see these classic federal features. Power is shared between the central government and the states. But then, take a look at that other list. The list of unitary or centralized features is way longer. A strong central government, a single constitution for everyone, powerful emergency powers, it all gives the central government a serious advantage. And that tilt was totally intentional. And because of that strong pull towards the center, scholars don't really call India a pure federation. The term they often use is quasi-federal. It's this practical design that kind of looks federal on the surface, but has this really strong unifying core. It was designed that way to hold such a diverse country together. Okay, so we've talked about the architecture, the how, but what about the why? What's the whole point? For that, we have to look at the Constitution's incredibly powerful one-page mission statement, the preamble. And man, the preamble opens with these monumental words. Think about that. This isn't a document being handed down from a king or some colonial power. This first line declares, loud and clear, that the ultimate authority, the real power, comes from the people of India themselves. And right after that, it lays out these 4 huge objectives. These are the core promises the Constitution makes to every single citizen. It's a promise for justice, not just in court, but social and economic justice too. It guarantees liberty, promotes equality, and tries to build a sense of national family or fraternity. But a big question came up pretty early on. Is this beautiful mission statement actually legally binding? For a while, the answer was no. Back in 1960, the Supreme Court basically said the preamble was just a nice introduction, not a real enforceable part of the Constitution. But that all changed in a massive way with a landmark case in 1973. That case of Ananda Bharakti, was a total game changer. The court didn't just reverse itself and say the preamble was an integral part of the Constitution. It went even further and established what's now called the Basic Structure Doctrine. What that means is, sure, Parliament can amend the Constitution, but it cannot change or destroy its most fundamental identity and core values, many of which are sitting right there in the preamble. All right, so we've seen the blueprint and we've read its mission statement. For our final stop, let's ask a really fundamental question. Who actually gets a key to this house? Who is a citizen of India and who gets to enjoy all the rights and protections this Constitution provides? Well, the law, mainly the Citizenship Act of 1955, lays out 5 primary paths to becoming a citizen. You can be born in the country or to Indian parents living abroad. You can go through a formal process like registration or naturalization, or you can even become a citizen if a territory you live in becomes a part of India. And, just like there are ways in, there are also ways out. The law also outlines 3 main ways citizenship can be lost. You can choose to give it up yourself. It can be automatically terminated if you become a citizen of another country, or the government can actually take it away for very serious reasons like fraud or being disloyal to the Constitution. So this all brings up a really interesting legal puzzle, something that courts had to figure out. Okay, we get that people are citizens, but what about something like a company or a corporation? Can a legal entity like that claim the same rights as an Indian citizen? And the Supreme Court's answer on this is crystal clear. Nope. While companies are what's called legal persons, which means they can own property or sue someone, they are not citizens. And that's a really important distinction because it means they can't claim the fundamental rights that the Constitution sets aside specifically for its citizens. So when you step back and look at it, India's Constitution is this incredible, living document, a master blueprint designed to be both rock solid and able to bend with the times. And that really leaves us with one big question to chew on. As we look to the future, in a world that's changing faster than ever, which of its 2 great qualities, its rigid, unchangeable core or its flexible, adaptive nature, will end up being more important?